Good day, fellow investors. Welcome to Arabian Property Pulse, your weekly podcast dedicated to the real estate market in the Middle East. Fueled by coffee and powered by our sponsor, Nelson Park Property, I'm your host, Jeffrey Asselstein. Good day, listeners, and welcome to our new podcast. So, one of the quotes you'll often hear in real estate is, when is the best time to invest? And it's a great phrase, and unfortunately, I don't know who first coined it, but the great phrase is this: the best time to buy real estate is 20 years ago. The next best time to buy real estate is today. So I just want to leave you with that thought to contemplate as you're looking at maybe making investments in the near future, and you're worried about what's going to happen regarding some political issues, changes of government around the world, interest rates, maybe this week fires in California, or different things that are going on, things that may be playing on your mind. What I'd ask you to do when looking at investing in real estate, unless you have a specific strategy of buying and flipping or buying and fixing up, if you're more of a standard investor where you want to buy a property, rent it out to somebody, look for the rental returns and cash flow, and then maybe some capital gains as well, I would always make sure you have a long-term view. I'll tell you a quick story. Many years ago, I was looking to buy in London, and I was very, very close to buying a property, but it was, when was it? Just before what would end up being the Second Gulf War. So there's a lot of information going on about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and what may happen with a coalition going into Iraq. So I was very, very close to buying a property in London, and then I just said, no, I'm going to wait. This war in Iraq is going to be, if it happens, it'll be very short, it'll be very quick. Foreign countries go in, the war will be over very quickly, and then I'll invest. Well, as we all know, and I don't want to make light of a war situation, but just looking at it from an investment perspective, that was part of my thesis and part of my thinking. So as we know, that war was anything but quick. It lasted many, many, many years. And as a result, I didn't invest. And so what happened without investing? I missed out on massive capital growth because I basically overthought the near short term, and as a result, didn't invest. So I didn't get to benefit from all the capital appreciation that would have happened had I bought at that time. I didn't get to benefit from all the cash flow I would have received. And in those days in England particularly, I didn't get to benefit from all the tax benefits of property in the UK, of writing off the interest on my mortgage, the service charges, any other fees that I had to pay. I could have written all those off. I didn't get to benefit from any of that. And that's because I had too short-term of a view. So when looking at your real estate, looking at your portfolio, always go in with a long-term view. Again, unless you have a very specific strategy, that may be different. And in other podcasts, we'll cover off different strategies like that, whether it's buy and flip or to, refurbish, anything like that. But if you're looking as more of a standard investor, always look to the long term. Don't be thrown off by short-term worries about changes in government or things like that. Always go with a long-term view. And as you go with a long-term view, I've always found that property is the world's best asset class over the long term when all the cash flows are considered. And depending on which countries you're investing in, there are also massive tax benefits. In our home markets in the Middle East, zero capital gains tax, zero dividends, zero personal tax. That is a massive benefit to investing in the Middle East. And I think it's one where people often overlook. I was at a networking function many years ago, and someone said to me, why should I invest in the Middle East? They're a UK individual based in Qatar at that time. They said, why should I invest in Qatar? And I've done a podcast on this before, but the first thing I said was, how about zero income tax? So all your rental revenue is yours to keep. All your capital gains are yours to keep. As a Canadian living abroad, those are massive, massive, massive benefits that sometimes I think in the Middle East we forget just how excellent those benefits are. So again, when looking at your real estate portfolio, when looking at growing your portfolio, don't be thrown off by short-term events. Always look to the long term. Remember, it would have been great if you would have invested 20 years ago. Hopefully some of you did. And if you didn't, the next best time is today. So best of luck in your investing. Look forward to the next podcast. Hopefully that gave you something to think about. Enjoy your week, and if you need assistance with any of your real estate needs, get in touch with Nelson Park Property at nelsonparkproperty.com.